Later, I manage to catch Rumpel when the two of us are both on break. He looks pleased to see me until I mention karma. Why were the two of you fighting earlier?
What a sad day it is that the princess talks about another man to my face.
Oh, get over yourself. You're not the first one. Just answer me.
I was getting ready for the events of today, as always, speaking to the lovely women who filter in and out of this place, when the beast appeared behind me.
How much do you know? Even his insults are dramatic, but oh so close. So on the nose, though.
Your flirting is distracting me, he proclaimed.
Well, your flirting is annoying.
But all I'm doing is complimenting women. I'm not impeding anyone's work. I thought that the only reason he was calling me out on such a thing was because he was actually jealous. You should have seen his scowl.
And here we go.
So I politely told him to mind his business, but he was relentless, and when he continued to insult my demeanor, well, I had to say something back, but I wasn't the one to start the fight.
I swear, they both really do sound like children. No doubt Karma would be blaming Rumpel.
Princess, you don't really think I'm so confrontational, do you?
I think Karma is far more confrontational than Rumpel, but it does not help that Rumpel always snaps back at him. The two of you are both at fault.
But Princess!
In the end, you were still having a childish argument. I think that Rumpel might try to protest again, and I'm surprised when he shrugs his shoulders and sighs.
Yes, it was childish, because that man is a child.
I roll my eyes.
Ah, your irritated scowl chills my heart, Princess. I feel a tinge of excitement.
I am leaving now. There is really no point in having this conversation. It is a problem between Karma and Rumpel. They aren't children. They can figure this out on their own.
Oh, Princess of my heart, why must you depart so early?
I ignore Rumpel and leave him standing where he is as I return to my shift a little early. Honestly, I would much rather focus on work than Rumpel. He can be just as tiring, if not more. Though, after what happened last night, I do not think he is as terrible as I thought. Oh, interesting. Just buy her some chocolate. Everything's right with the world. The days go on and Rumpel and I speak only briefly during our breaks. Every day I eat another piece of the lily until only one is remaining. Oh, by the way, I forgot, as I was editing the last one, I'm like, she said that lilies were her favorite flower. Lilies are also my favorite flower. Just as a little side note. I love lilies, especially yellow ones. One afternoon, just before my break, Rumpel approaches me with a mischievous smile on his face.
My lovely princess, how are you today?
What do you want?
Your cold shoulder is enticing.
I have one more table to serve. Do not bother me.
But Princess, I've decided I know exactly how to teach you to be good.
All of your other lessons have been useless so far.
Please, just trust me.
To put my trust in someone is weakness.
I'm going to teach you how to flirt.
What?
The first step to flirting is eye contact, Princess.
Wait, but why are you... Rumpel points at my customer, a young man sitting right beside the window. Are we doing this?
The second is to smile. Smile, Princess, because I'm sure you look even more stunning when you do. Then you start a conversation with him. Body language is important. There are certain signals that key men into the fact that a woman is interested in them. I think playing with your hair is one. A gentle tap on the shoulder is another.
I should have expected Rumpel to spout this sort of nonsense.
Princess, the customer's been waiting for a while now. Is something wrong?
I noticed the customer looking at me expectantly. He is just some man, a usual customer that I actually see often.
Oh, and Princess, don't forget the compliments. Make them as delicate and illustrative as you can.
I move away from Rumpel before he can muddle my thoughts any further. Already my feet feel like lead. I find myself staring at the man for far too long. The way he stares back at me, his expression so unreadable, suddenly makes me feel more uncomfortable. Do I really have to do what Rumpel says? I stop in front of the man and set down his tray, my eyes still on his. I do not have to follow Rumpel's advice, but for some reason my lips quirk. The smile on my lips, though, lasts all of a half second. Ugh! Is he blushing? Kinda looks like he is.
Are you okay?
I kinda want to see where this goes. Whatever! I can feel Rumpel smiling at my back. If this were anyone else but him, I would think it was some kind of prank. But considering this is the way Rumpel acts all the time, maybe he's really trying to help me. I try to recall how he flirted with his customers before. I could not help but notice you were alone, sir.
I'm always alone.
My heart is thumping far too loudly in my chest. What kind of things does Rumpel usually say? Oh boy.
Madam, you are the most beautiful thief I've ever met, for it is you who has stolen my heart and stolen my gaze. Your eyes are more captivating than the stars, my sweet. If I could, I would stare into them forever and lose myself in their majesty. You remind me of a rose with thorns, but the thorns are what makes the rose so alluring.
All he does is spout complimentary gibberish. I will try to do the same. How is it that you would always be alone when you have such lovely eyes? He doesn't have any eyes! That's why he's alone. The customer stares at me, baffled. I force myself to continue. Go, Lucette. Your eyes remind me of the leaves in fall as they flutter beneath the bright gaze of the sun, and... I stop. The words, nothing more than a shallow lie, make me feel strangely hollow. The man is just staring at me, but he looks uncomfortable. Still, I do not think he is anywhere near as uncomfortable as I am.
Ma'am?
Perhaps you would... My voice trails off. I bite my lip so hard I can taste something metallic. The man's expression is a mixture of awe and perplexity. I immediately turn away from him and walk off. My whole face is hot, and I can feel anger boiling deep down inside of me. Well, Rumpel approved.
Ah, Princess.
Leave me alone.
But Princess, we're not done.
I do not care. I ignore everyone's gazes as I make my way as quickly as I possibly can up the stairs and to my room. There I collapse on my bed and lay there with my arms outstretched. Like a drama queen. Why would I have ever even thought of taking Rumpel's advice? Because you're starting to get to like him, girl. You know. Hours go by, and eventually I realize that it is time to help Anise with the night chores. Now I am helping her restock some of the bottles that Waltz and Karma brought back from town. I hope Anise does not mention what happened earlier today. I slip out of bed and head down to the main area of the tavern. Maybe we can apologize to her for leaving her alone. The room is mostly quiet by the time I go downstairs. Parfait and Delora are talking to each other at a table. Karma passes me by as I walk downstairs. He looks exhausted and oddly frustrated. Whatever that was about, I make my way over to Anise, who is already putting bottles on the shelves.
Oh, Princess! Are you okay now?
I am fine. Now what did you need me to do? Anise explains how restocking works. She shows me the labels on the shelves and explains that the empty spots are where the new bottles go. It is not a hard job, and one I can easily do without thinking too hard. For a while, the only sounds that can be heard in the marching are the bottles clinking against each other. Underneath that is the murmuring between Parfait and Delora. I have no idea what they are talking about, but they look serious, so it must be something important. Must be nearly time to tell you the truth again, girl.
So Princess, can I ask what life was like at the palace?
Right. She cannot remember working in the palace before.
I don't mean to pry. I was just trying to make conversation.
I would rather not.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, Parfait and Delora stand from their seats and move to another room to continue their conversation. Anise breaks the silence again.
The tavern is nice when it's quiet like this, isn't it? You can hear the sounds outside if you open a window.
My hands move stiffly, placing bottles on shelves by label. All I want to do is get the work done and then return to my room.
It was like this at the old place that I used to work. was hired by a rich family to be their maid. Their mansion was a beautiful place. You could hear the crickets if you were by the windows on the bottom floor.
It seems like her memory has been twisted by my curse, so she cannot remember working at the palace. All she remembers is working for a rich family.
It was a nice place, Princess. There was a girl close to my age that had a radiant smile.
Radiant smile. She must be talking about Emmeline.
The head of the mansion is a really kind man, and...
She grows suddenly quiet, a look of confusion coming to her face. She pauses and then shakes her head.
I can't seem to remember everyone that was there, but I'm pretty sure they were all good people. At least, I'd like to think so. I was just a bad maid.
She was. Because of her, Dolores' dress was torn.
I was too ashamed to tell one of the mistresses that I couldn't save her doll.
Save her doll. Anise looks down, her smile wistful.
I was fired on my first day because I couldn't save one of the mistress's dolls. I was the one cleaning her shelves that day, and when I went in, I saw a crow coming through the open window and was pecking at one of the dolls. I shooed it away, but it was too late. The doll had a little rip in its dress, and I was fired for not doing my job properly.
So it wasn't Anise who ripped Dolores' dress, but a bird? Is this why Dolores insisted Anise deserves an apology? Aww. Anise. What happened after you were fired?
Lady Parfait found me on the streets. I couldn't go back to my aunt's house, not after what happened. She never liked me anyway.
Anise's face clouds briefly with sorrow, but the expression is short-lived.
I can never forget the day I met Lady Parfait. I told her I would be able to help her and anyone else that got sick. That I can even do all the cooking, since I've been making meals for my father since I was a young girl. I begged her to take me in, and she did. I owe Lady Parfait a lot.
Why didn't you go back to your father after you were fired?
My father passed away a while ago. My mother died giving birth to me. My father was an herbalist, and he taught me a lot while he was still with me. So before Rumple came in, I helped Lady Parfait with herbal remedies.
So you have no one?
That's what I thought, but now I have everyone here. The Marchant is my family now.
Family?
Princess, we're all happy to have you here, too. You really help out around the Marchant, and I can tell Rumple's happy to have you as a partner.
The memory of what happened today slowly seeps back into my mind. I cannot help the irritation bubbling up inside of me.
I know he's a little overwhelming, but I'm pretty sure Rumple's really trying to help you, just like he's helping Lady Parfait.
It is not the same thing at all. The two of us continue working until Anise makes another wistful comment.
The place I worked before this. It felt like there was warmth in that gigantic home, but it was stifled.
That place isn't warm at all. I speak the words without even meaning to. Anise looks up at me curiously. The king suddenly started speaking to me when Mother died, but it was never enough. Before that, he was cold and distant. And even now, he favors his new wife and children over me. There were people, but they all wore fake smiles. And my father, he was the worst of all. I may as well have never existed to him.
Princess, I'm sorry.
For what?
You're talking about the palace, right? The king always seems so nice.
He put his kingdom before his children. Anise fidgets nervously.
I'm sorry.
Apologies are not going to change the past.
Sometimes apologizing seems like all we can do when we can't change something that's already happened.
I think about Anise, who tried to save my doll, and the way I fired her that day. Rumpel told me once that all I had to do was listen to people to sympathize with them. Could that also be true for finding out the truth? All I can do to make up for what I did to her is... You should apologize. That's a good deed, too. I am sorry. Anise looks at me, clearly shocked. She stares for a few moments before I scowl at her. Staring is rude.
Oh, I was just... Why are you apologizing to me, Princess?
It is for something I did that you wouldn't remember.
That I wouldn't remember? You should tell me. I promise I wouldn't hold it against you.
It is not important. Anise's eyes are suddenly downcast, and no matter the attempt, her smile isn't as bright as it once was. I quickly finish stacking the bottles on the shelves. I'm done. Anise turns to look at me with an unusually tired expression on her face.
Thank you for listening to me, Princess. And for telling me a little bit about yourself, too.
I feel like I might have said too much. I do not respond to Anise, but instead choose to head out the front door. Anise asks where I am going, but I just ignore her. I think about heading to town, but then I reconsider. I decide to head to the forest instead. Do we get to see sword fighting again? I make my way to the forest clearing. In the dark, everything feels a lot more comfortable. Here, I do not have to pretend to listen to anyone, and I do not have to talk about myself. I settle down on a rock and stare up at the sky. Hey, that was good. I guess Rumpel overheard us. I apologize, but Anise did not even understand my apology. And even now, I still cannot bring myself to trust those at the margin. I find myself speaking aloud. Maybe I am the Ice Princess. Haha.
Ah, but have you seen the beautiful sculptures that can be made from ice, Princess?
Ugh. I turn to see Rumpel walking toward me, a broad grin on his face.
Ice always sparkles in the sun. It glistens and stands so proudly where it's been sculpted.
I stare at Rumpel blankly.
Ah.
He shakes his head.
I'm sorry, that one was particularly bad, wasn't it?
At least you're aware of this. He sits down beside me and his grin falters a little bit. Aw, hey. Your head is, like, gigantic compared to Lucette's, by the way.
I have no white lilies to give you this time, my sweet princess, but I will offer anything else you would need for me to apologize for my advice earlier today.
Aw.
I can offer anything. My words, my body.
You just never know when to quit, do you? I cut Rumpel off as I am not in the mood for his usual behavior. You are always like this. All you ever do is flirt. Any meaningful thing you try to say is lost in the flattery you constantly give to people. It is shallow.
You're right.
What? I stare at him. Rumpel is still smiling, but it is not the same confident grin he wore earlier.
Somewhere deep in my memories, I remember someone telling me off just like this. Many people enjoy flattery, Princess, and a lot of people are receptive to flirting. But nothing can measure out to a genuine compliment. But I stand by what I said before, and that making a person happy is a good deed. Look, I'll show you.
Rumpel shifts so that he's looking right at me, and I notice that his smile is gone.
Lucette, of all the women I've met, you are the most straightforward and honest. Many do not have the courage or the confidence to exhibit those qualities. And that's why I admire you, and why I will always take your words to heart, because I know you will always speak the truth.
I look into Rumpel's eyes, which still have a gentle shimmer despite the darkness. For a few moments, his words float around in my head. No one has ever called my bluntness honesty before, and no one has ever complimented me for it. Rumpel told me before that I deserve to be spoiled. Maybe it's because he sees the things I do in a more positive light.
My, you're struck speechless by that, aren't you? You look cute with your cheeks so rosy, my sweet princess.
I glare at him and Rumpel just laughs in response. I put a hand to my cheek, suddenly self-conscious. Rumpel smiles at me, but it is not the usual playful smile. Right now he almost looks serious. Did he mean what he just said? I mean, he seemed, but... I mean, if I asked him if he meant it, he'd be like, of course, you wound me, my sweet princess. How could you even blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna save, just in case I'm a crazy person, but I'm gonna tell him off anyway. Why did you have to be so dramatic when you gave me that compliment?
I was dramatic?
I cross my arms and Rumple grins at me.
I can't help it, Princess. I am dramatic by nature. A compliment is, in some ways, a performance.
So you did not mean what you said?
No, I did. I swear I did. I was trying to show you how making a person happy could be a good deed. Complimenting a person on appearances is easier than complimenting them on their demeanor. You have to know a person for that.
Yay!
I meant what I said, Princess. And I swear that wasn't just me trying to weave spectacular words together. Earlier, I bet you made a niece happy, too.
You were spying on our conversation?
I would never. I just happened to be making my way down the stairs very slowly.
You don't even know what I was apologizing for.
No, but you thought you had to after you listened to her, didn't you?
I listen far more than you do.
Princess, you shattered my heart so many times there are permanent cracks. But do not worry. The cracks in my heart allow even more of you to make your way into it.
I remain silent while he awkwardly laughs.
Anyway, there are different kinds of listening, Princess. Listening to sympathize is one kind. Trying to put yourself in someone's shoes, trying to understand them, that is one of those ways. Then there's a kind of listening that is shallow. One pretends to listen without ever letting the words into their heart.
Words are fickle things. Mother always told me that people lie and that they would say whatever benefited them. It is foolish to trust words. What if Anise had been lying to me? Why would I put so much blind faith in people?
Because more often than not, people are good, Princess.
Sometimes I cannot tell if I am angry or confused by Rumple.
Ah, what a beautiful sound! It was as if the sweet wind itself was gently tickling my ear.
I slide away from him and scowl.
Your scowl is adorable too, and you have such delicate lips.
Right. I am still convinced that his earlier compliment was just a lie. How can he say something genuine and then slide right back into this pitiful flattery? For a moment, silence falls, and I find to my surprise that it is not awkward being alone with Rumple.
Will you accept my apology for earlier? I promise I'll never try to get you to flirt with anyone ever again. Besides, if you flirted with another man and then grew fond of him, I would be devastated.
That would never happen.
You didn't let me finish. I was going to say that I would be devastated, because that would mean that your heart belongs to someone else, and
my heart belongs to no one.
I will steal it, like a thief in the night.
That will also never happen.
If not that, then I'll settle with making you smile at least once, because I'm sure you would shine as brightly as the sun if you smiled.
You are unreasonably persistent.
Love is a persistent endeavor, Princess. A man in love stops at nothing to win over the woman that he so adores.
Then you must be in love with many women. I stand up. I would appreciate you just complimenting me when you mean it.
But Princess, I mean every one of my compliments.
I have no energy to chastise him right now, but at least I no longer have that anger inside from earlier. It's been a long day and I'm going to bed.
Would you like company? I didn't mean...
Good night, Rumple.
Good night, Princess Lucette.
I make my way back to the tavern feeling surprisingly light after that banter. Still, even if Rumple's words might make me happier than I care to admit, he is not doing a very good job of helping me with my curse. I might have to do this on my own after all. You don't know, girl. We'll see. The doctor is in. Doctor Who.
What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet princess here to accompany me.
I cannot help but groan at Rumple's optimism. Because we were both sent out to run errands.
Because everyone thinks we make a wonderful couple.
No, because we're partners.
Partners, a couple, it may as well be the same thing.
Half of the time, Rumpel says some deep things, but then he says things like that. It is like he has two personalities. No, it is not the same thing at all. I take out the list and scour it for the things we need to buy. More than half of it is already crossed out. I glance at the bags Rumpel is carrying. He refuses to let me carry any of them, insisting that it would be impolite to force a load on me. Well, thank you for being a gentleman, unlike somebody else that I knew. That leaves me with list duty. This is a lot more laid back than what I have to do at the Marchen. Okay, now we have the general medicine restock for our niece.
My area of expertise. Never fear, my sweet princess. I will find everything we need.
We already have a list. But Rumpel just hums enthusiastically as we continue on our way, and I am not entirely sure if he heard me or not. We arrive at the little medicine shop in the central plaza. A man exits through the front door, coughing so loudly people turn their head to stare at him. Rumpel, are you going to save him? I wait for the man to pass so that I can open the door to the store, but then I notice that Rumpel hasn't budged beside me at all. His eyes do a quick scan of the man before he slowly begins to walk toward him.
Sir, you're sick. Hey, what's it to you? Even if I was sick, lad, there's nothing I can do if I don't have any money. Besides, it's not like this will kill me. It's just a cough. How long have you had your cough, sir?
It seems like such a minor thing, but Rumpel suddenly looks so serious about it. He looks at the man with his eyes slightly narrowed, as if trying to see past him.
It's been with me for more than 3 days. Coughs are pesky things, aren't they? They're usually the last thing to go, but at least they're not deadly most of the time. Even if you can't buy the medicine, sir, there are other at-home remedies that might help with your cough. Boy, I've already tried warm tea. My wife's given me enough of that. Water is good for your throat too, sir. Any kind of steam works too. If the cough is riddled with mucus, it'll be easier to expel with steam. When you can't afford the medicine, sometimes the simple things will help. And coughs stay for a while, so don't fret if you can't get rid of yours immediately. Well, I appreciate the advice. Not exactly what a doctor would tell me, but it'll have to do.
The man thanks Rumpel before walking off. I notice Rumpel looking down at the ground, a rather forlorn expression on his face. Is what he said true?
About what, princess?
About doctors not giving advice about at-home remedies.
Most of the doctors don't believe in such things. They always think that medicines work better than at-home or herbal remedies.
This is true.
The medicines do help, but sometimes they aren't necessary.
Yet you just gave him advice. You're a wonderful doctor, Rumpel. I'll say it here and now.
Not everyone can afford medicine. Being a doctor means helping people, not taking advantage of their sickness to steal their money.
Money was never a problem at the palace. Whenever I was sick, the palace staff made sure I had the best and most effective medicines. Do you remember what you were like as a doctor?
I wanted to help everyone that showed up at my doorstep. Sometimes I couldn't, and it frustrated me. I prescribed medicines when necessary, gave advice other times, and when things were dire, I performed small operations.
He does seem a lot more serious when he is talking about health. Rumpel was silent for a few moments before his eyes light up once again.
Anyway, shall we go stock up on our medicine?
I thought you said medicine wasn't always helpful.
Because it's not. But I also know that Anise uses mostly herbs, and that she tries to handle things without too much medication. She's quite capable.
Oh, a new shop. We enter the shop, and in no time at all, Rumpel spots the items on our list. We use up the rest of our money to buy the medicines and remedies that we need, and then we begin to head back to the tavern. Why have a new background just for that little bit? We're probably going to go back there at some point, aren't we? On the way there, Rumpel strikes up a conversation again.
So, princess, have you given any thought to what I said before?
About what?
You've already forgotten? About making people happy.
What?
You know, you can make me happy right here and now by giving me a kiss on the cheek.
I stare blankly at him before walking away. No, thank you.
And alas, my hopes are dashed again.
I'm really enjoying Rumple's route. When we are at the outskirts of town, I pause and turn around. It is as if I can feel eyes at my back, but I do not see anyone openly staring at me. Is someone watching me? Suddenly I feel warmth in my hand, then fingers interlaced through mine. Rumple pulls me a little closer, his expression oddly gentle.
Don't worry, my sweet princess. You're safe with me.
Suddenly, his face is a lot closer to mine, and I can see his features more closely. It is like the night in the forest, except his face is not marred by the same shadows. There is caution in his eyes, but it is not directed at me. So do you feel that too?
Did you see someone following you?
No, I just thought I felt someone looking at me.
Better to stay together, then.
We begin walking again. The two of us begin to head back to the Marchen. Rumple has all the bags in one hand now. He hums a little bit as we walk. It is remarkably peaceful, so much so that I do not even mind him holding my hand. No. It suddenly feels a lot safer. I am so lost in reverie that I do not even notice when we turn and go in the opposite direction.